Hi everyone, it's Evangeline here at etrailer, and today we are looking at the one bike add-on for your Kuat Transfer Bike Racks here at etrailer. You use this to add on to your Kuat Transfer V2 bike rack, which is the newer version of the Transfer, and it works with 3 bike racks. So the first one is the single bike version that has an 1.25" and 2" hitch adapter, and it also works with the 2" 2 bike rack as well as the 3 bike rack. Note that it does not work with the 2 bike rack, which has an 1.25" and 2" shank adapter, because it is not ideal to carry more than 2 bikes on a class 1 hitch, so you can't add on to that type of bike rack to avoid accidentally overburning your hitch. So please check the product page for the exact part numbers that this will work with. The add-on itself has a 40-pound weight capacity per bike, so when you do add this onto a bike rack, let's say our Kuat Transfer V2 single bike rack has a 60-pound weight capacity, but the instant you add on the add-on, you now have a 40-pound weight capacity per bike, and this is so that your weight is evenly distributed throughout the entire bike rack. The add-on works the exact same way that your original bike rack does. So you still have the same cradles, the same front wheel clamp action right there. You have the same cable lock and lock cores. They just transfer on to your add-on. It's basically the same bike rack, just a little bit extra, so you can bring your friends and your family's bikes along with you to your adventure. So let's take a look at exactly how to put this on. I set up all my parts over here, kind of according to which side they're gonna go on. We have a bunch of different bolts as well as different wrenches, so I'll guide you through the install process of our add-on. But the first step you need to take is to take off the end caps off of your original bike rack. You're gonna start with the smallest wrench, and you're gonna put that right into that bolt on the end cap and remove the bolt in order to loosen the end cap. With the end caps removed, you then put on the arms. Now these have holes along the inside, so the way to figure out which one goes where is the arm with a lot of holes goes on the driver's side. Make sure to note the tiny hole here at the end. That's going to be towards the inside of your bike rack. So we're going to put it right into or right up to the arm and have the small hole facing you. To secure those arms, you're going to need these really long bolts, and they're going to have a split washer and then a flat washer. And you are also going to have an end cap looking piece. So that end cap with the bolts or with the holes inside it are going to go on to your original arms. Then you're going to hold up your new arm into place and then use the bolts to secure them together. If you're having difficulty lining them up, notice how this has a tab, so that's going to cover the hole on the inside of your bike rack. And I like to put the bolt in first, just so that they're all connected right before I put them into the arms. That keeps them all together and makes it a lot easier to tighten down. Once you have those 2 bolts into place, you're going to tighten them down with this larger hex wrench. So what I like to do is to tighten them evenly, so do a little at the top, then a little bit at the bottom, just so that they're evenly tightened down. With those arms in place, you are now ready to start attaching your cradles. So let's start here on the passenger side. You're going to see that there is 1 hole right in that arm, so you're going to use your cradle and try to get it in, pop that in there, and try to line it up over the hole. Next, you're going to use this bolt, and that's going to pop right into the center of your cradle, and you'll use this to find that hole on the inside of the arm, and then push that in there. Push the bolt in as far as you can, and then start threading it through the nut that's already on the inside of the cradle. Once you've hand tightened it as far as you can then use the larger tool that came with this, and it has a smaller end that's going to go into that bolt and tighten it down. One thing to note is to make sure that the cradle is actually facing the right way. So the cradle can rotate back and forth for different wheelbases, but you have to make sure it kind of looks like a shovel with the indent on the top and the outward arc on the bottom. Repeat the exact same process on the driver's side. Make sure your cradle is facing the correct way. Also, you will be using the bolt with the silver washer looking piece on the larger cradle. With both cradles installed, the next part is the sleeve for your front wheel clamp. So just pop that in and try to get it where the metal parts are facing out. Once that's in place, you then use these two smaller bolts, and you're gonna feed them in from the inside. Get that lined up with the holes inside the arms, and then tighten them down with the larger hex wrench. Next, you're going to install your front wheel clamp. So that's going to go right over that sleeve. You just tighten down to try to fit it onto that tube as much as you can. You may need to rotate it back and forth as you apply pressure to get it over that sleeve. But once it is in place, right there, swing it out so that you have access to the bottom bolt. You're then going to insert this bolt with this large, thick plastic washer. That's going to fit right into that hole, and then tighten it down again with the larger hex wrench. On your driver's side, you're going to put this end cap that does not have a lock, so that just pops right onto the arm, and then you're going to put this bolt right in there. To secure it, you're going to use the smaller hex wrench to tighten that down. On the passenger side, you can have this locking end cap, so that just pops right into the end of the arm, right over there. And then you're going to use this bolt to secure the locking end cap as well. When you do add your add-on, what's going to happen is that the passenger side will now have that hole for your cable lock. It used to be on the driver's side. You're going to still have that hole, but this comes with a plug, and that's just going to pop into right where your driver's side cable lock hole was, and make sure it is secure as you drive around. Make sure all your bolts are tightened down, not too tight that you cannot adjust the cradles, but tight enough that they are secure. Also, make sure you don't have any extra screws lying around. Once that's all done, then you are done with the install. My final thoughts about the add-on is, as I was assembling it, honestly, I realized how elegant the construction and the design of the Kuat Transfer V2 is. I didn't have to deal with a crazy amount of parts. There was a little bit of muscle work involved with putting the cradles in, but nothing too much or too difficult to handle. It was very intuitive as well. So it wasn't the quickest add-on experience, but I can definitely see after a couple times of doing this, taking one off, putting it back on, it can be pretty quick and easy to do. So this allows you to turn your bike rack into a 2, 3, or 4 bike rack very easily, and it adds more opportunity and gives you more options for bringing your friends' bikes out for a ride without having to get a whole new bike rack. So all in all, good job, well done. So that was a look here at the add-on for your Kuat Transfer bike racks here at eTrailer.